with sports writer Josh Planos joining us all the way, as always, from Lincoln, Nebraska, live. Hi, Joshy. You heard me. Thank you again, buddy. I did say Jalen Green. No, Jalen Green is still in Houston. It's Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown that Porzingis will be joining in Beantown. Thanks again for joining us, buddy. Last-minute call. Thank you again, Josh.
Of course, happy to be here. There's a lot of exciting news in the NBA.
Josh, let's start with this blockbuster trade involving Marcus Smart. It came as a shock to me, to be honest with you, because he played a huge part with the past few years with Boston. But let's start with them. The team will get one-time All-Star. Once hailed as a unicorn, still is probably 7'3", Kristaps Porzingis, along with 2023 and 2024 first-round picks. They do lose the 2022 Defensive Player of the Year, Marcus Smart, plus this year's 35th pick. So from A+ to F, or all the way to Z, A+ being the highest, what grade would you give this move to Boston, Josh?
For Boston, I would say it's about a B. Certainly, Marcus Smart is huge, right? I mean, he's been the heartbeat of this team for nearly a decade now. He plays with the tempo that this team is looking for. He's essentially the point guard in a lot of situations, and that's really why Memphis went and got him, right? Because John Morant's going to be out for a quarter of the season. You need a ball handling player, especially with Tyus Jones moving out. But you also get that defensive versatility that they're losing with Dillon Brooks. He's evidently not going to be re-signed. So you get a lot of pieces on the Memphis side. But for Boston, this really does fundamentally change how they play basketball, right? Porzingis, slating him next to Rob Williams is going to be kind of an awkward fit. But my read on the situation is that they're bringing in Kristaps to take away some of the minutes that Al Horford has had on his legs, right? Al Horford is getting older, so you can balance him out with Kristaps, and that provides a little bit more positional versatility. So I am excited to see what this unlocks for Boston. It's just very difficult to think of the Celtics without Marcus Smart. So in losing him, I have to say, it's about a B, but Kristaps has an enormous upside. And as you mentioned, last season was probably the best season he's played in the NBA.
Well, let's move to Memphis, and they did let go of this year's 25th pick and a 2024 first-rounder to get a leader and a hard-nosed defender in Marcus Smart. We know the situation with John Morant. Dillon Brooks no longer with Memphis. You got Desmond Bane. He looks good. He will be continuing to improve. He's still young, but Memphis, man, having a great defensive player at the front court already with Triple J, Jaren Jackson Jr., and then you add a feisty bulldog in Marcus Smart. What grade would you give Memphis, Josh?
I'd give Memphis a B+ to an A. Like you said, Marcus Smart really does fit the vibe of this team, the tenacity that they play with. I had not even realized that they were going to, pair two former defensive players of the year together, but that's going to be an incredible team to watch, to see them lock down opponents. Desmond Bane, as you mentioned, he's, tenacious in his own way. So it's going to be a lot of fun to see. I do think Marcus Smart will provide some of that perimeter versatility that they're looking for. You really can't, leave him alone along the arc. So that's going to be, an exciting transition for them. I'm a huge Tyus Jones fan, so losing Tyus Jones, I think, is devastating for this team, but it's not going to get in the way of them making a playoff run, especially if all of their pieces stay healthy. So I'm excited to see what Marcus Smart does for this team. Defensively, this is probably going to be the team to watch in the NBA, and that's an exciting reality for this team, which, by the way, like 5 years ago, nobody was talking about the Memphis Grizzlies as being a dark horse championship contending team. I think that this move absolutely makes them one of those.
How about Washington? Let's go to Washington. What are they doing, Josh? Well, obviously rebuilding, letting go of Bradley Beal, sending him to Phoenix, and then Kristaps Porzingis now, sending him to Boston. But they'll be getting Tyus Jones. He's a good defensive player, can also shoot the outside, a good point guard, but backup point guard. And then you get a veteran in Danilo Gallinari. You get Mike Muscala as well, and the Celtics' 35th pick. So your verdict on the moves that Washington's been moving?
Given that they're trying to rebuild, as you mentioned, I guess this would be an A. In terms of team building, I would say it is probably more toward the C side of the ledger, but they are, I mean, this is absolutely a case of different priorities for different teams, right? They traded Brad Beal because they're not trying to win right now. They're trying to rebuild through the draft and through, younger players. Tyus Jones is absolutely a veteran presence that you would want around any team, whether they're, old or young. So I really think Tyus Jones is going to have a huge impact. Gallinari is a fantastic player when he's healthy. So hopefully, right, he can get back to form and compete and contend for this team. But Washington is not trying to make a championship run next season, at least with the pieces that they have assembled. So depending on, how you view the, roster building process, this was a very good trade for them, even if they lose arguably their best player in the process.
Well, Josh, stay where you are. We'll get back to you. Don't go anywhere. We will be previewing the 2023 NBA Draft after this quick timeout. Stay tuned to Sports Desk, only here on CNN Philippines, where we go all out for the day's top sports stories. We'll be right back. Stay with us. Welcome back to Sports Desk, only here on CNN Philippines. Sports writer Josh Planos still joining us on the show today, all the way from Lincoln, Nebraska via Zoom. Josh, we talked about that blockbuster deal involving Boston, Memphis, and Washington earlier, with Kristaps Porzingis going to Boston, Marcus Smart going to Memphis, and Tyus Jones, Danilo Gallinari, Mike Muscala heading to Washington. Now let's talk about the 2023 NBA Draft happening Thursday. Thursday there, Friday here in the Philippines. Of course, Victor Wembanyama headlining this draft. 7'4", 7'5", that plays like a guard. We see him shooting the three with a step back, with handles like he's a guard. LeBron James calls him an alien because of his unique attributes and his skill set. I also got to watch Giannis Antetokounmpo in one of the podcasts when he got interviewed by Serge Ibaka, and he said he's different. Giannis describes Wembanyama like him and KD combined. He is touted as probably the best prospect since LeBron James in 2003. It's also expected San Antonio, of course, having that #1 pick, getting him under coach Greg Popovich. Do you expect Wemby to become that franchise player like the Spurs' previous top picks back in David Robinson and Tim Duncan?
Without a doubt, Andre. This guy has an 8-foot wingspan. He's 19 years old. He's French, so there's an international piece to this equation that's very exciting for the sport and the game. I really think that he could change the game of basketball, and that's a lot of pressure. But considering he's already projecting to be one of the game's best rim defenders, and he possesses that skill set that is unprecedented for someone of his size on the offensive end, I think the sky's the limit for this guy. He also joins a team that is not terribly competitive right now, so he'll have a lot of opportunities to grow and develop even as that spotlight heats up. And San Antonio, there is something in the water there with international players. Greg Popovich always gets the most out of them, and the habit of turning teams that typically are not competitive in the first year into championship contenders in the next. So I'm very excited to see what Victor is able to do in the NBA. It seems like we've been talking about this guy for 2 years now, and tonight is really an opportunity for him to take that first step and begin his NBA career.
I'm just really excited, because we saw what the Admiral, he won a championship with San Antonio. Same with Tim Duncan, arguably one of the greatest power forwards to ever play in the NBA. So I'm really excited. Intrigued, actually. Do you see a remote possibility of, San Antonio pulling a shocker and picking another prospect, or probably trading that #1 pick? I don't know. You tell me. Maybe in a different universe, right?
There is no universe in which we live that this man is not going to the San Antonio Spurs. I feel confident saying that.
So after the Spurs, you got the Hornets And then the Portland Trailblazers picking next. That will be number 3. Second will be the Hornets. 3 will be the Blazers, assuming that Wemby is already taken, unless something really happens here. The next best prospects, of course, University of Alabama forward. You got Brandon Miller and G League Ignite guard Scoot Henderson. I like both these guys, man. We saw Scoot working out with Steph Curry and Brandon Miller. Also, you know, he will definitely be a big help to whichever franchise he goes to. Which team should take who, Josh, in your opinion?
So if I'm Charlotte, I would snap with Brandon Miller. I think wings are king in the NBA,
Yep.
and like this guy's all-time great pick, and Paul George. I think Brandon Miller is a slick operator along the perimeter. I do think for Portland, given that Damian Lillard has intimated that he would like to, potentially go elsewhere if they're trying to rebuild around young guys, I do think Scoot Henderson is the choice if you want maybe the most marketable athlete in the draft outside of Victor Wembanyama. This guy, you're going to play a ton of Scoot Henderson highlights next season because that is all this guy produces is highlights.
I can't wait. Yeah.
From Portland's perspective, yeah.
Yeah. For Portland's perspective, you were saying?
Yeah, I think this is absolutely the person you
Scoot?
want on your marquee. This is the person that will sell tickets for you. And I think he's a fantastic athlete. So I can't wait to see him get started and to make Portland his home.
And who knows? Well, it depends if Portland trades. And let's go with Damian Lillard. It'll be a different franchise over there. But let's see. Well, we already talked about Wemby, Henderson, and Miller as well as your top 3. Wemby and then Miller and then Henderson in that order, as you said. Now, which players will complete your top 5 in this draft class? People say it's a top-heavy draft class. What do you think? Who will be next and complete the top 5?
Well, I think it's easy to pick the next 2 because they're brothers. We have twins.
The Thompson
Eamon
boys.
Thompson and Ausar Thompson, the Thompson twins.
Yep.
They are incredible athletes. They play multiple positions. They can both handle the ball. They make great decisions with the ball in their hands. They both need to get better as a shooter. But athletically, these players are ready to plug and play. And it's going to be exciting to have another set of twins in the NBA.
Yeah. We've seen a lot of twins. The Morris twins, the Lopez twins. There are a lot of twins. Are there any other prospects that you think we should be talking about that are, going under the radar, like steals of the draft?
Yeah, so Jordan Hawkins out of UConn, he's really slotted near the back end of the lottery. This guy is an elite shooter. And because Richard Hamilton went to UConn, he draws a lot of those comparisons, but he does play in a very similar manner. He's got a great pull-up game. He's a fantastic athlete. He's a capable on-ball defender. I think this guy is going to be a threat from the moment he pulls up to the gym. And if I were running a team, I would absolutely be looking hard at Jordan Hawkins because I think that this guy is a phenomenal talent. He made a championship run in recent months. He helped UConn win a national title, and he absolutely fits the bill for what you're looking for in an NBA player in 2023.
Well, Josh, as always, pleasure having you on this show. Even last minute, you're always ready. Man, Kali owes you already a lot. Venmo. Thanks, buddy. Thank you, man. And we'll see if Wemby really does go number 1. No, I'm kidding. He will go number 1 with San Antonio. Thank you. That was sports writer Josh Planos sharing us his insights on the blockbuster trade between Boston, Memphis, and Washington, and also his top 5 and thoughts about the upcoming 2023 NBA draft.